here? Oh, she's live. Yeah, she's there. Oh, okay. Hi.
Ask her, talk to her, see if she can hear you.
Sid,
Yeah, turn it. Yeah, through the microphone. Can you hear us?
Hello? Hello?
There she is.
All right. So everybody, again, I'm Shannon Blair, and this is Vegan Evan. I'm his mom. We are certified vegan lifestyle coaches and educators. Evan is the youngest in the world. We are really excited to be here today at Naples Veg Fest 2021. And we're about to have a remote presentation from Sid Notter. Sid is a graduate of the Center for Nutrition Studies, a certified instructor for the Starch Solution and other dietary courses, past newspaper columnist, and the founder and author of the Plan A Diet. She offers a variety of health and cooking classes, provides nutritional coaching on both individual and corporate levels, speaks to local groups, and has worked with school district employees and hospitals' fitness centers. Her book, titled The Plan A Diet, released in October 2019. I checked it out. It has amazing reviews, and I'm excited to hear from Sid.
Thank you so much. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, well, thanks for watching this training class today, everybody. It looks like a beautiful day there. I sure wish I was there. Today's class is called 3 Food Mistakes You're Making, which lead to painful joints, extra pounds, and chronic everyday ailments. So I'm hearing a lot of feedback there for some reason, just to give you guys a little feedback of what I'm hearing on my end. So let me get started. First of all, thanks everyone for attending today. Let's get right into it here. So let me get my things going. So let me ask you, have you ever started a diet on Monday and then fell off the wagon by the following Friday? Or have you ever managed to lose a few pounds only to gain them all back again? Well, trust me when I say that you are not alone if that describes you, because diets don't work, right? We know the typical diets just do not work. They have about a 3% long-term success rate. That means that 97% of people who are following today's typical diet plans will not have long-term success. So it's probably not your fault, because gaining weight and suffering with declining health is the body's normal response to eating all the abnormal foods that we're eating. And so it does not have to be this way for you. That's the good news, because there's a lot that you can do about it. Yourself up as to why you can't keep the weight off or improve your health. It simply boils down to the wrong plans and the wrong foods, and your body is just responding accordingly. So today I want to share 3 important steps which will allow you to finally shed the weight that's been bugging you for years, reduce or stop taking meds every day, which aren't fixing the problems anyway, and to relieve the pain in your joints, your muscles, and your gut, and even your head if you're suffering with headaches, and to get the energy back that you had in your younger days, and to do all of this without feeling overwhelmed or stressed. So the first step I want to share is how to shed 1 to 3 pounds a week and keep it off without counting calories or points or eating tiny portions. And the first step when it comes to natural, safe weight loss is to learn the difference between calories and calorie density. Calorie counting is not the way to go, because not only is it often very inaccurate, willpower. Plus, it often results in decreased portion sizes that don't fill you up. So it's not sustainable over time, because who wants to be hungry? Calorie density, on the other hand, refers to the number of calories in any given weight of food, typically a pound of food. So foods that are high in calorie density have a large number of calories per pound, whereas foods low in calorie density have a fewer number of calories per pound. Here's how certain foods weigh in when we look at the calories per pound. So we have fruits and veggies, potatoes, whole grains, beans, legumes, and whole grain pasta weighing in between 100 and 600 calories per pound. Avocados at 750. Animal foods, ice cream, refined carbs, and white flours between 1,000 and 1,400. Cheese and sugar, 1,700 calories per pound. Junk food and chips up to 2,300. Nuts and seeds and nut 100 calories per pound. Butter is 3,200 and oils are 4,000 calories per pound. So the American Cancer Institute and the World Cancer Research Fund recommend lowering the average calorie density of the American diet to 567 calories per pound. And that allows us to eat freely of the starches and veggies, fruits, whole grains, beans, and legumes. And of course, that's without the addition of sugars and added fats. Now, some of those higher calorie dense foods there, such as avocados and nuts and nut butters, those can still be used sparingly because that average is spread out over the day. But usually we want to use those foods as a condiment. For example, include a few slices of avocado on your burrito or toss a few walnuts in your oatmeal. But those higher foods, those foods that are higher in calorie density also have a much higher fat content. So if you're trying to then those higher fat plant foods are best eliminated or at least greatly reduced. Here's an example of how foods that are low in calorie density allow us to fill our stomachs with a lot more food, but for a lot fewer calories. This is what 500 calories looks like in your stomach. There on the left, we see 500 calories of oil, followed then by cheese, then meat, then potatoes, rice and beans, and then fruits and veggies. So keep in mind that your stomach is about the size of your fist because our stomachs can expand to accommodate large portions when we overeat. So right now, some of you might be thinking, wait a second, are you suggesting that we eat carbs like potatoes and rice? And the answer is yes. I am suggesting that because remember, not like carbs. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. What happens when we don't eat complex carbs? Well, first, it's important to know that we are designed to function on complex carbs, from our brain function to our gut health, from weight control to our for constipation, fatigue, brain fog, muscle ache, high cholesterol, hypertension, and so much more. And maybe some of you are already dealing with these issues. And if so, we can do something about that. But if you're not suffering these things yet, then this way of eating will help you prevent those issues. So how does this apply to you? Well, if you're a busy mom with kids who love to snack, then have healthy complex carb options on hand, like fruit kebabs or pumpkin muffins or roasted veggie potato wedges. These are great snacks for the whole family too, not just the kids. What if you're the decision maker on what's for dinner? Then make starch the center of the meals with recipes such as barbecued lentil loaf with mashed potatoes and gravy, or cheesy broccoli soup. Yes, there are ways to make delicious cheesy soups and sauces just by using plant foods and no dairy. Plant-based burgers like mushroom and wild rice burgers or Mexican black bean burgers. There's African peanut stew, black bean lentil taco soup, easy lasagna roll-ups, hearty chilies with cornbread, chickpea salad sandwiches, stuffed peppers. There are thousands of delicious recipes out there, but there's no need to be overwhelmed by that. If you're just starting out, you only need to find 6 or 8 recipes to get started. So let's move on to step number 2 now, which is why ditching this one highly processed food your health. Well, remember that calorie density chart that we just looked at? Look at the left-hand column there, and let's talk about extracted oils, because oils are the most calorically dense food on the planet, weighing in at 4,000 calories per pound. And I'm always hesitant to call oil a food because really what oils are just the extracted fat from a food. Did you know that? Did you know that that's what oils are? It's just the pure liquid fat, which has been extracted or pressed from olives or vegetables or nuts or seeds or coconuts or fish. So as I mentioned, oils weigh in at 4,000 calories per pound, and they are highly refined products which have been stripped of all their nutrition. And again, oils are 100% pure liquid fat. So 1 tablespoon contains 120 calories and 14 grams of fat. Just 3 tablespoons a day, which is not unusual in the American diet because bakery items, salad dressings, and restaurant foods, just those 3 extra tablespoons a day can lead to 3 extra pounds per month. And that's without adding any bulk to the food. We're basically just coating our food with fat. So not only are oils huge weight busters, but they are health busters as well, because oils damage the protective endothelial lining on the inside of our arteries, and that paves the way for plaque formation. They impair circulation, they're highly inflammatory, and they contribute to blood clotting as much as animal fats do. Other extracted oils and fats to be aware of would be margarines, which are typically all made with oils, butter, which is 100% fat, cheese is 70% fat, sour cream 63%, high-fat dressings like ranch dressing is 75% fat. So we need to learn to purchase and prepare food because it's very hard to lose weight and keep it off when these high-fat products are allowed to remain in the diet, not to mention the health ramifications. So if you want to consume some olive oil, then eat the whole olive, right? Toss a few olives on your salad or your pizza. That way you're getting the olive oil the way it's meant to be eaten in conjunction with all the other nutrients of the olive so that your body knows what to do with it. Just a quick note here too about coconut oil, which remains very popular these days. But not only is coconut oil 100% fat, as all oils are, but 92% of it is saturated fat. So coconut oil has more than double the saturated fat as lard. And so it definitely should not be something we're ingesting. Like many people, I once thought that consuming oils was beneficial. I used to use them all the time. But we now know through the work of thousands of doctors and researchers and cardiologists that not only are these fats extremely fattening, of course, because they're pure fat, but oils are one of the most highly inflammatory foods you could possibly eat. And there's a direct connection between inflammation and the majority of our chronic ailments and diseases. So a report was released back in 2009 called the Dietary Inflammatory Index, which was developed by some of America's top cancer researchers. And these researchers studied the inflammatory components of food and how foods such as oils lead to chronic inflammation. They report that chronic inflammation equates to lower function of the lungs, kidneys, lungs, and livers, and higher risk of cardiovascular disease, impaired memory, type 2 diabetes, osteoporosis, arthritis, weight gain, and many types of cancer, with a 75% increased odds of getting cancer. Now, that statistic nearly floored me the first That's why it's really important to heed this information about oils and other inflammatory foods so that 5, 10, or 20 years down the road from now, we can avoid these major problems. So how does this apply if you regularly eat out or socialize at restaurants? Well, first know that restaurant foods are loaded with oil, and it doesn't matter if it's a fast food joint or a gourmet restaurant. So when you're at a restaurant, check the menu for potatoes, rice, beans, salads, vegetable soups, whole grain pasta, portobello mushroom sandwiches, and healthy side dishes too. You can often build a great meal just from the side dishes that are listed on a menu. And then ask about those hidden oils, especially in things like dressings and sauces. You might even want to bring a small container of oil-free dressing along with you. And lastly, ask how the food is prepared. Request that your food be steamed or baked or grilled over a dry skillet. And of course, you want to. And restaurants are very often willing to work with you, especially if you call ahead and tell them that you're following a special diet for health reasons, because you would be. What if you're the person who shops for groceries in the house? Well, be sure to read your labels and avoid products which contain a lot of oils. The picture here is for Earth Balance butter. This is a vegan butter that I used to buy all the time before I knew any better. But if you check the ingredient list, you'll notice that almost the entire product is comprised of oils there. We see palm fruit oil, soybean oil, canola oil, and olive oil. Now, this product is 100% fat because if you look in the nutrition facts box, you see the calories are 80 and the calories from fat are 80. That means this product is 100% pure fat. So what about if you typically use oils when you cook, like I used to do all the time? Well, to saute your veggies like carrots and onions and celery, heat a dry skillet up on veggies in and keep flipping them and adding tiny amounts of water or vegetable broth, just enough to prevent sticking. If you put in too much liquid, the veggies are going to steam rather than saute. But just keep doing that until the veggies reach the desired tenderness that you want. And then for your baked goods, simply replace oil with unsweetened applesauce. So it's a 1-for-1 replacement. So if a recipe calls for a 1/3 cup of oil, you would just use a 1/3 cup of unsweetened applesauce instead. And now for step number 3, how you can reduce or eliminate meds with a single food component that most people lack. So how do you do that? The answer is to eat more fiber. Let's have a fun little quiz here to test your fiber knowledge. So which food here do you think contains the most fiber? And please note my little warning there to be careful because this could be a trick question. So we have 4-ounce servings of 1 egg, or do you think it's a trick question? So which food here do you think has the most fiber? Well, if you guessed trick question, you'd be a winner. That was a trick question for sure, because animal-based foods like milk, pork chops, salmon, and eggs contain 0 grams of fiber. Fiber is only found in plant foods, and it is crucial to good health. I can't stress that enough. So the healthiest people on earth are getting at least 45 grams of fiber each day. And it's not unusual for whole food plant-based eaters to get 50, 60, or even more grams of health-promoting fiber each day because, again, plant foods are the only source of fiber. Yet less than 3% of Americans are getting the minimum RDA of about 32 grams of fiber a day. In fact, most Americans are getting about half that, about 15 grams a day. So when we stick with a fiberless diet with foods like cheese and yogurt, we are looking at an increased risk of polyps and diverticulitis, constipation, higher cholesterol and blood sugar levels, and fiber helps to prevent or correct. So I'm sharing all of these troubling facts with you, not because I'm trying to scare you or discourage you, but because I want you to be informed. I used to be totally ignorant of these things too, and I feel I'd be doing you a disservice if I didn't at least share these facts with you, because how else can you really make informed decisions about your food choices, right? After all, this is the quality of your life that we're talking about and how you're going to spend your life and where you're going to spend it, especially as you age. And the foods you eat today are going to play a huge part in that, probably the biggest part. So how does this apply to you? Well, if you're a person who eats breakfast on the run, swap out those fiberless pastries and Pop-Tarts and McMuffin sandwiches with healthy oat bran muffins or whole wheat blueberry pancakes or oatmeal topped with cinnamon, berries, and ground flaxseed. Have a chocolate pumpkin muffin with a cup of tea, or enjoy a dish of raw apple crumble. Or consider purchasing a Yonana machine. Amazon has them. It's just a machine that converts frozen fruit into like a soft serve dessert. And you can create banana splits or cherry or mango or strawberry ice cream, whatever you wish, because it's all fruit-based and it's all super healthy. And you could also make these desserts in a high-powered blender too with similar results. What about if you've been consuming fiberless foods like meats and chicken and fish and dairy products? Well, start by adding a variety of plant foods to your meals by preparing recipes that are packed with fiber and other nutrients too, like protein and calcium. So you never have to worry about getting enough of these nutrients. Things like sloppy joes or cheesy Mexican tortilla bake, or a big variety of stir fries or mushroom pot pie or peanut noodles with vegetables or plant-based macaroni and sorbets, chocolate mousse. All of these things are plant-based and they're all delicious. So the foods on a whole food plant-based diet are anything but bland and boring. Believe me, I grew up in an Italian home and I can assure you that these foods are delicious. Plus, there's absolutely no deprivation whatsoever. How does this apply to you if you're pre-diabetic or suffering with type 2 diabetes? Would this high carb or type 2 diabetes? And even the ADA agrees on their website that plant-based diets are safe, even for people who already have diabetes. So I promised you that I would teach you 3 things today. First was how to shed 1 to 3 pounds a week and keep it off without counting calories or points or eating tiny portions. And that's where we talked about calories versus calorie density. Second, why ditching this one highly processed food allows you to accelerate your weight loss and improve your health. And that's where we talked about ditching those extracted oils. And third, I promised to show you how you could reduce or eliminate meds with a single food component that most people lack. And that's where we talked about the importance of fiber. And the cool thing is that all 3 of those steps are part of the same one simple nutrition plan. So what does this mean for you? Well, no matter what foods you're currently eating or how ingrained your habits are, it is never too late or too hard. You always have the option to choose a much better path, which is the proven and well-documented way back to normal weight and good health. A whole food plant-based diet with no added oils. This is the most anti-inflammatory diet available. And get this, it's the only way of eating that's capable of reversing even advanced stages of our #1 killer, heart disease. So when you have all of these benefits working in your favor, like anti-inflammatory foods, high fiber, packed with protein and calcium, permanent weight loss, reversing your chronic ailments, reducing inflammation and joint pain, lessening your cancer risk, When all of that's going on for you, you'll regain your confidence and be optimistic about your future again, especially when it comes to your health. Your immune system will be stronger to ward off diseases and viruses, because who knows what's coming down the pike as far. You'll have clearer thinking, improved mobility, better mood, better sleep, better gut health. You'll achieve normal weight and feel good in your clothes again. You'll regain your energy and feel better than you have in years. And you get all of this while truly enjoying your food. And so life is short, and it's way too short to spend the last 10 or 20 years just focused on health problems, preventable health problems. And I see this happen so often. So if any of this resonates with you, but you have questions about it, or you wonder how to get started, then I invite you to call me, have a free session with me where you can get all your questions answered just by giving me a call. And I promise there are absolutely no strings attached. This is just part of my coaching mission to offer these free calls to people who are ready to develop a plan to get off the diet roller coaster and finally improve their quality of life. So people for over 25 years now, and I know what works and what does not work when it comes to diet plans. And I have never seen this plan not work when it's fully implemented. So again, don't worry, this is not a sales pitch in disguise. I promise you there's nothing to buy. I would never pressure you. That is not my nature at all. But there is a catch, because this offer is not for everyone. This offer is for you, but you have to be open to whole food plant-based diet. You must be mentally ready to change your food choices, and you must be willing to shop and cook differently. Basically, you have to be determined to succeed, because all of these things are necessary, or I really can't help anyone who's not ready to change. I'm sure you would understand that. But if that does sound like you, and you can say yes to all of that, then schedule a call with me at sidnotter.com/session. And while you're there, you'll be asked to complete a few questions about yourself and what you're looking to accomplish. Your answers, I'll put a few things together so that on the call, I can help you solve the biggest challenges that you're facing right now. So again, visit sidnotter.com/session to book a call, or simply visit my website, sidnotter.com. There you'll see my book if you're interested in reading that, or you can get a signed copy. There's a free 21-day meal plan there. Plus, there's a full-length version of this presentation. What you're seeing today is a condensed version, but on my website, you will have access to the full-length version. Okay, well, that's it for today, everybody. Thank you for your time and attention. I don't know. I think we're about out of time. It's up to Mike if they want to have any Q&A sessions from the audience. Otherwise, I wish you the very best.
Can you hear us?
Yes. Yep.
Can you hear us? Okay, you can. Shannon and Evan, we have like a minute. I don't know if we'll be able to do any Q&A, but thank you very much, Sid. And hopefully everyone will check out your website, because I know you've got a tremendous amount of resources there. So we will see you probably soon at another event.
Okay. Thanks so much, Mike. Have a great day.
You're welcome. You too.